Good evening for me, depending on when you're watching. It could be at any point in time. This is lesson 5.9, Simple Interest. Simple interest. How do I use simple interest? I am going to quickly talk about interest. For you to take down these notes, feel free to hit the pause button. That's the beauty of online learning. Interest earned. Interest earned, let's say, for instance, from a bank. In order to earn interest, you deposit money into either a bank or into some sort of account, or maybe with a friend you have a loan of some sort that you give them. And when you earn that interest, let's say you gave $200 to the bank, the interest you earn, you might receive $210 back. You received more back than what you originally gave because you earned some money. On the flip side, if you're the one paying the interest, you will end up paying more than what you originally used. Usually we run into this for some sort of loan or a credit card. So if I bought something on a credit card for $100 and I do not pay it off right away, usually there's some sort of interest attached to that, and I'll have to pay around $106, $115 by the time I'm done using the payments for that. So that'd be interest paid. Here are the formulas that we want to work with. When you are finding simple interest, and they say simple because there are many kinds of interest. Another one is compound interest, and we're not learning about that this year, but it is another option or another form that is out there. But what we have here is I equals PRT. Here's your big formula. I is the interest, P is principal, R is rate, T is time in years. And what I want to emphasize are two things: that this is in years. Rate is the same thing as percentage. Don't think the P stands for percentage. Rate is the percentage. And like I say down here in your notes, you have to remember to change it to a number. And principal, that's the amount of money you start with. So that's really the biggest news here. New vocabulary is the money you start with. Think about rate. Remember, ratio is a comparison of two things. And what do you know about a percent? Well, it's a comparison out of 100. So that might be a good way to help you remember that. All right, the best way to do this is just start some problems. Again, hit pause, rewind anytime you need to if there's something that you didn't have an opportunity to write down or you don't understand. I will keep the formula up here for a few of the problems, and let's just run through and we're going to highlight some things, highlight what we need to know. First of all, the I, a little dark screen here, I is the interest. Well, this says find the interest. So if I have to find it, do I know it? No, I do not. And if I don't know it, that's my variable. And in this case, let's just keep it as an I. That's a nice variable just to keep it as. Next thing I have is the principal. Remember, principal from your notes is the amount of money that I start with. So let's read the rest of this problem. Find the simple interest for $500 invested in a savings account at 3.25% for 3 years. Invested is how much I put in. I invested that much money. Sometimes you don't invest money, you might invest time. I invested 2 hours of my time to create your lessons. So here, the principal amount I started with was $500. Rate. Remember, rate is percentage. So here's where I need to put my rate. And my rate is 3.25. So 3.25%. Make sure you notice the difference here. 3.25 is the percent, so the rate itself would be 0.0325 because I'd have to move this twice. Last but not least, I've run out of highlighting color. Nope, I have green. Last but not least is our time, and notice that our time here is 3 years. So my T is 3. So what do I do with all this? I plug it in. I don't know. P comes next. It's 500. Remember when letters, variables are right next to each other with no symbol in between as to what you're supposed to do? You need to multiply. I need to multiply by my rate, which is 0.0325 times my time, times 3. So I know that, I equals 1,500 times 0.0325. Miss Better, how'd you do that? I just multiplied 500 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15, and the 2 zeros. Now I just have to multiply it by this number here. Take out my handy dandy calculator. 1,500 times 0.0325, and I get I equals, did anyone see what that said? I equals 48.75. I did it again. Is that what it said? Let me just double check. Yeah. All right. 48.75. Now you got to analyze and reflect on what you just found. You just found the interest. What does this mean? A lot of the times we'll find answers, but we don't know what it means. So here's what it means. If I take and put $500 in a bank, here's the bank building, look, cute little bank building. I put $500 in here, and I can't touch it for 3 years. Over 3 years, I earn interest of $48.75. So now here I am, I'm walking to the bank, and I'm going to come get my $500. I'm going to walk out of the bank with $548.75 because I get the money back that I put in, and I also get back this $48.75 that I earned in interest. The interest was just $48.75. So that's how much interest I earned, but altogether I get the $500 that I originally deposited as well. I'm amazed at how quickly 7 minutes go. So I'm going to move on to the next problem. I'm not going to do all the highlighting for these problems, so hopefully you can find what I'm doing here or follow what I'm doing. Find the simple interest. Again, that's what I'm trying to find, so I'm going to leave that as my variable. That's an I, in case some of you are confused about that, I for interest. $400 invested, that's how much I put in, so this is going to be $400. In a savings account for 3.67%, so my rate is going to be 0.0367. Again, I have to take this percent and turn it into a number. Why do we move it to the left twice? 367 or 3.67% would be like 3.67 over 100, be dividing and it moves over, just in case you forgot. Time is 2 years. So now I have interest equals 400 times 0.0367 times 2. So I equals 800 times 0.0367. Why am I able to do that? Remember the commutative property? I can move them back and forth for the commutative property. 800 times 0.0367 is 29. I did it again. Sorry. 29.36. Interest equals $29.36. In this case, that's all I'm asked to find. Find the simple interest. Here it is. $29.36. Again, pause at any time if there's anything that's moving too fast. Go back and review. All right, here is a problem, and it's not meant to trick you, but I need you to think. And I want you to focus on this right here. Find the simple interest for $770 invested in a savings account at 16% for 6 months. So right away, find the simple interest. I don't know that, so this is going to be I. $770 invested, that's how much I started with. 16%, my rate is 16% or 0.16. 6 months. Here's a mistake. Do not put 6 here. Remember, this is time in years. So if I put a 6 here, I'm representing 6 years. 6 months is not 6 years. So let's compare that 6 to months. What do I know about months? I know there are 12 months in a year. I have 6 of them. 6 over 12 is the same as 1/2. Watch out for those. I equals 770 times 0.16 times 1/2. So we're going to clear this one out. We have 770 times 0.16 times 0.5, because that's the same as 1/2. And I find out that interest equals, seriously, you think I learned by now, 6160. So in 2 years, I'm sorry, in half a month, half a year, 6 months, half a year, I'd earn 16% interest. I'd earn $61.60. All right, here's another one. What is the total amount of money? Ooh, notice the different question here. What is the total amount of money, not interest, total amount of money owed on a credit card with a balance of this? Balance is basically my principal. That's what I'm starting with, $1,500, at a simple interest rate of 22%. Rate 0.22, time 1 month. 1 month is 1/12. Interest, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find. So interest equals $1,500 times 0.22 times 1/12. I have to admit I don't know this off the top of my head. So we're just going to take and we're going to plug all this into the calculator. I'm going to take 1 divided by 12. I'm going to get the decimal for 1/12. Then I'm going to multiply it by 22 and get that answer. Then I'm going to multiply it by 1,500 and get that answer. And I typed something into the calculator wrong, so let me try one more time. I had 1 divided by 12 gives me that, times 0.22. Ah, that's where it was. Times 1500. All right. So the interest is about $27. Was that 49 cents? We'll call it $27.50. Okay, but here's the trick. It says, what is the total amount of money owed? Remember, this is just the interest. How much do I owe the credit card? I owe them the $1,500, but then I also have to add on the $27.50 for interest that I owe them. So the total amount of money, my final answer, is $1,527.50. Next, what is the total amount of money? Again, watch these words. Total amount of money in an account where $95 was invested at 7.5% for 8 months. So this would be 8 out of 12. I could reduce this. 4 goes in here twice. 4 goes in here 3 times. So this would be the same thing as 2/3, which we know would be the same as 0.66 repeating or 0.6 repeating. So now I know that I have I equals 95 times, remember to move this, 0.075 times 0.6 repeating. Pull out our calculator. 95 times 0.075 times 0.6, I'm just going to throw a few of them on here, equals $4.75. That is the interest that I owed. Remember, this wants a total amount of money. Total amount, not just the interest. So I need to take the 95 plus the 475, and I'll get 99.75. Whew, we made it. Remember to look out for the difference between if you're finding just interest or total amount. Have a good lesson.